First game of a doubleheader, and we got a guy got hurt here in the pregame throwing the ball around. Wasn't looking, took one in the head. So Fat Kids may be down a player before the game even starts. I only got 2 rules when I ran teams. One was don't get hurt in batting practice, and the other one was don't get hurt when you're throwing the ball around. I don't mean to make light of it. Hopefully he's going to be okay, but he got dinged up a little bit. So Noach. He got hit in the back of the head, and that actually happened to me once when I was running flashback. We were taking BP up in Mount Prospect before a game with the Chicago Championships, and somebody from the outfield threw a ball in, hit me right in the back of the head, and went down like a sack of bricks. So the Noaches, the umpire is trying to make sure he's okay. So we'll give you an update. He's trying to walk it off there. Sometimes it's the shock of getting hit like that when you're not expecting it is half the battle. So this is our first of 2. And he looks like he's going to try to just grind through it. And hopefully he's okay. And again, for those of you that think that this 16-inch clincher is soft out of the box, it is not. So we'll keep an eye on him. So we got March versus the Fat Kids, first of 2. Second game will be Signature versus March, and we'll take a walk down to the other diamond. We'll follow March down there. So again, what you're about to see, Chicago 16-inch style softball, you're seeing it correct, no glove, 60-foot bases, leadoff can't steal, 38 from the rubber to the point of home plate. Because we're playing no glove, the pitcher does not need to stay in contact with the rubber, gets one step left, right, or back. Here's Brian Evans leading off. 2 fakes or hesitation, third arm action. Have to deliver the ball home, and there's a ground ball to the shortstop, and he handles it cleanly for the first out. So Tom Boyle, Tom is playing short center today. So Tom Boyle handles that. Tom had a breakout year last year and really put up some good numbers in our Chicago Summer Series, which was the umbrella under which all of the 5 big tournaments fell under. And it was a lot of fun. Sweet Buzz, you see the logo. And there's a fair ball as Morris Greco slaps it right down the line. First base runner of the game, and Morris can fly. Playing left field today. Here's Jack Harrigan. So they're going to measure 38 feet. Pitcher gets 2 fakes or hesitations. Third arm action must be to deliver the ball home. A throw or a fake to a base is considered one of your fakes or hesitations. 6-12 on the arc, 1-1 count. We use heavy bats, 38 ounces, 34 inches long, 2 1/4 on the barrel. And Harrigan goes high and deep. That's way back, and it is up in the net. 2-run homer for Harrigan. And March jumps out to an early lead. Now these are some of the smallest dimensions of any park we're going to play in. 210 down the lines, 235 to dead red. So not very far. The fence out there is only about 3.5 feet tall, all AstroTurf. So we do see a lot of ground rule doubles, and you're only allowed 4 home runs. So here's Jake McTeague coming up here.
When the guy knocked it back in.
And Jake, he's an interesting kid, someone you want to mentally keep an eye on. I don't even know if he's 20 years old yet. And there's a line drive handled by that guy, Tom Boyle. But Jake, for a young kid, is pretty advanced as a hitter. My only concern with Jake is he's kind of a bigger kid, and you want to make sure that he's keeping an eye on and not, getting a little too big or too heavy. So here's Tommy Lentine Jr. I did not see Tommy's better half here tonight. Usually when the Lentines play... Oh, she's here? So Lauren, I guess, is here. And, of course, there's a base hit. And, of course, Tommy Lentine, part of this ball club, runs it. Though I don't see him here today. Here's Eddie Gil Ramos. Of course, Mrs. Lentine usually out supporting her kids and her husband. And an interesting fact, now Tommy Jr. never played on Mudville, but his dad, Tom Sr., did. And when we were in Chandler, Arizona for the Major National Championship tournament, and Eddie, little ground ball, and Bruce, who used to be a first baseman, makes the play easily. So when that tournament was out in Chandler, Arizona, and Mudville went out there, and of course Tommy was pitching, and Chris Lentine, Tommy Lentine, Ashley, they were all out at the tournament. So Mrs. Lentine was there, had a long talk with her, and we were discussing at the No Glove last year about how I remember how small the kids were. So that's Tommy Lentine Jr. and, of course, Chris Lentine's tie to Mudville. They didn't play for me. Their dad did. And they were a part of that group and part of the families, I'd like to say. So Scott Gates leading off here for the Fat Kids. Bottom of the first. Yeah, if he stays here, it would be a good pickup. Another interesting pickup for the Fat Kids. And Gates drives it, and that's going to be a solo home run. And again, I think as a coach, we talk all the time, you only get 4. So you don't necessarily want to use solo home runs, especially this early in a ball game. But as I was saying, a very interesting, and he's in the box right now. You guys might remember this guy, Tony Lepore. Of course, Tony was a long-time Player Inc. guy and played about 3, maybe 4 years with Flashback. He was on that team that won the national SSA National Championship out in Marshalltown. And there's a long one into the gap. It'll stay and bounce over. Ground rule double. So Lepore's first at bat as a Fat Kid. And he rockets a double into right center field. And that year, Lepore had a huge hit, I believe, in one of the championship games when Flashback was playing Old Timer Tavern for the championship. So here's Santos Soto coming up, and Fat Kid's probably going to be making that move to... And there's a rocket, fair ball down the line. That's going to tie us up, and Soto ends up with a sliding double. So good job there by Soto. Sorry, I was changing the scoreboard, didn't get to the replay, but he rifles it down the line. So Tony Lepore is going to be a nice pickup for this Fat Kids club, and that's going to bring up Matt Peckus. And when you look at it now, you sprinkle in Lepore with Soto and Peckus and Noach, and of course Brandon Molina, and Fat Kid's got a nice little lineup. Missing their starting pitcher, Angelo Feliciano, tonight. And here comes Noach, so we'll see how Noach is feeling. 2-2 ball game here. And Noach, a little flare, long run, but Evans will get there. Little slide. Soto easily into third. So you can see Evans got out there in good shape. And of course, Brian Evans, very good friends with Morris Greco. And here's Brandon Molina playing left field tonight. Normally we see Brandon, he's a center fielder outdoors. So I don't know if that's just a product. And there's a fly ball toward the gap. Nobody gets to it. Third run scores. Molina chugging in, and he's going to keep running, throw to the plate, not in time. So an inside the park, 2-run homer. See if we can't get you the replay on that. And that ball was up there a long time, probably should have been caught, but for some reason they really had him shaded the other way, and you can see the throw had no shot. So 2-run homer there. Fat Kids have responded very nicely. And Bruce Lee goes opposite field and slaps a base hit. So I think the reason why we're seeing Brandon playing a lot of left field is this guy right here, number 3, Scott Gates. Scott, very quick, covers a lot of ground. It's going to bring up Tom Boyle, so I got to believe that Fat Kid's going to have a pretty good year. They knocked off a few, played well last year, had a couple of wins against a couple of major teams, I believe, and ended up winning an A national championship last year. So here's Boyle. Boyle, little ground ball to third, long throw, and long bounce. So Eddie Gil Ramos used the turf to his advantage there as he long hopped the first baseman. They do get out of the inning, but in the inning, Fat Kids do push 4 across, and they take the lead. So we head to the top of the second now. As March, after coming out and taking that 2-0 lead now, trail. And it's going to be Chris Miller, be followed by Reese Miles and Adam Vogeltans. And I know you guys are going to get on me about Adam's name, but he's got one of those names I tend to butcher on occasion. So here's Chris Miller. Chris, a little pop-up, and that ball was foul. It's a weird rule here. If the ball is in fair territory and it hits the roof, it can be caught for an out before it hits the ground. The ball hits the carpet, it's all you can get, but in foul territory, they just call it a foul ball. And now there's another ball that does not hit the roof, and Brandon Molina puts it away for the first out of the inning. So here's Reese Mile with Adam Vogeltans on deck. anybody gets on, it'll be Ian Langston. Of course, Ian, I got a chance to manage when I was with, and there's a fly ball and caught by Tony Lepore. Yeah, those guys don't know what they're talking about, Mike, so no reason to even bring them up. So here comes Adam Vogelstance. Two up, two down here. Adam, big, strong kid. And March had a pretty good year last year. I think they kind of surprised everybody a little bit. And, you know, there was that split on that impact. So we had an impact and we had a March. And Adam pounds it past Nick Jones at third for a 2-out hit. And March did very well last year. Their big claim to fame is they had BTA's number last year. They must have played him. Here's Ian. Well, now there's a little change here. Unless they're hitting for him. And there's a one-hopper to Lepore. He knocks it down. Can't make the play. So with 2 outs here, all of a sudden a little something going on. And so, yeah, Ian Langston was the pitcher, but they hit for him already. Huh? Yeah, I know. I know. So, Alberto, and there's a high pop-up. So Junior, last name Villalobos, Roberto Villalobos Jr., flies out. So little 2-out threat. March can't push anybody across. And I'm not sure if Ian hurt himself, but we got a new pitcher, and they did hit for him. So we're going to head to the bottom of the second.
Take my socks off. Sad. It's bad.
Well, I do know one thing. I do know one thing. Jordan Dean is certainly a terrific player, and any team that has him would be damn good, glad to have him. So I had not heard about the injury, and there's a fair ball as Ian Langston. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong card last inning. Ian leads off with a hit here. Yeah, so Jordan, definitely a terrific player. And him and Morris and Evans, very, very close friends. And there's a high fly ball going back in center and making the catch. A little bit of a crazy throw by Roberto Villalobos. She threw it all the way to the pitching mound. And here comes Luke Lowry. So Nick Jones flies out. Ground ball to third, and they can't make the fielder's choice there. That ball got thrown away. Eddie Gil Ramos had a lot of time there, and he threw it toward the center field side of the bag, and Tommy Lentine Jr. couldn't make the play. I think Jim is having a little fun with us. And here's Scott Gates, so a little rally here, potential rally. 2 on, 1 out for the top of the lineup. And there's a hard ground ball off of Ramos, and it was a good thought process there. Jack Harrigan was trying to snatch it off the deflection, and he was hoping to beat Langston to third, but he couldn't secure it, and now the bases are loaded for Tony Lepore, and this is the time when you want your guy to try to pump one out of here with these short porches, and Tony certainly enough power to do that, as he got the ground rule double into right center in the first. And he goes for it, high and deep, got a chance, and no! Hit the wall and stayed in the park. Gates is turning, they'll hold him. Lepore, back-to-back doubles. As that ball hit about halfway up the fence, didn't quite get out. I thought for a second Gates was going to score from first, but they held him, and here's Macho Soto. 6-2 ball game here. If Soto can get a base hit, that double there could turn out to be a mini blessing in disguise if they pick up these 2 runs anyway. Soto goes oppo. That's going to score 1 run. And the reason why I say it could be a blessing in disguise is because you'd still have 3 dingers left as they hit the solo shot in the first. And here's Matt Peckus. And let's see if Matt tries to go yard. No, he hits it on the ground. Harrigan throw in time for the third out, but they do pick up 3 runs that inning. They push the lead to 7-2. And we're going to head to the top of the third inning. So again, got another ball game tonight after this. We'll start a new stream. And then no game tomorrow, but we'll be at Intentional for a semifinal game and championship game of the Los Borracho Softball Club winter session. It's been fits and starts with that as the dome over there keeps canceling dates on them, so it went a little bit longer than they were anticipating. Top of the lineup here for March. So Championship Friday will be out there, and then of course, and there's a line drive caught by Nick Jones right above the carpet. Nice job there by Nick. Evans tried to shoot it the opposite way, but Nick did a good job there to get low and make the catch. And that's a lot harder than it looks. As you can see, Nick did a good job. And here's Greco, hit one right over the bag as last time. Of course, Morris was on Team SSA that won the line drive base hit. And he'll come on back. So Morris 2 for 2, and Morris can really run. He's built like a greyhound. He was on that Team SSA that won the first and only Nicky Lopez 16-inch softball classic put on by the Chicago White Sox and Major League Baseball over in Mount Greenwood last summer. We live streamed it, and there's a line drive by Harrigan, throw back, not in time. And it brings up Jake McTeague, and March needs to put a couple up here, or at least one. They got to start scoring some runs here. They don't want the Fat Kids to get a little too comfortable and maybe start free swinging it. Jake, a little hard ground ball. Macho picks and throws in time. So we'll head to the bottom of the third, still 7-2. So Saturday we'll be out for that Richie Arico 16-inch co-ed. Not 14-inch, 16-inch. And that'll be out at Bulger Park. Going to be a little chilly, so we'll get out there. We're going to show you a few of the ball games out there. Richie's got 11 teams. Bracket is up. We had to post a corrected bracket because of the fact that Hot Stuff was left off of the first bracket. So we apologize to Hot Stuff. So here's Anthony Mysek. And if you're March right about now, you'd like to get a goose egg. Slow this Fat Kid team down. So a lot of softball coming up, and of course we'll have more from the Rosemont Dome next week as well, as this is kind of a quick hitter league. I think they only got 8 teams in it. So Noach draws the dreaded leadoff walk, brings up Brandon Molina. So Noach doesn't look any worse for wear. Seems like he shook off the getting hit in the back of the head there before the game started. So here's Brandon Molina. And he swings. And something weird happened there. Miles looked like he was going to get there. All of a sudden, he just kind of went into a slide. I don't believe that ball hit the roof, so the first 2 guys are on. And it brings up Bruce Lee. So right now, March would really love to maybe get a double play ball. And there's a hard hit ball over the hair again. And they get what they needed there. Nicely done there by Tommy Lentine Jr. Very well. What makes that double play is the way Tommy caught it. And watch the way he turned and had himself in a better throwing position. And Jack Harrigan talking, and there's a bullet by Tommy Boyle. So after getting the first 2 on, they get a double play ball and then a rocket for an out. So it wasn't pretty, but March gets themselves what they needed there, which was the double play ball and the goose egg. So we go top of the 4th. Let's see if they get any juice out of it. So Bruce hit that ball well, and Bruce was never what you would call fleet of foot necessarily, and he's got arthritis down in his feet, so it's a little bit of a struggle for him. And he hit a hard one-hopper and just hit that ball just too hard. Even though he's left-handed, he couldn't get to there. So here's the guy that started the slick double play, Tommy Lentine Jr., Eddie Ramos, and Chris Miller coming up here. And there's a little flare down the line, and that's going to drop harmlessly. So this Fat Kid team, I like what they got going on here. They got some younger guys. Tom Boyle, a little bit of an older guy, Tony Lepore, big experience. Of course, Anthony Misek played with Impact and Flashback, so they got some guys that have played some big-time softball, as has Ian Langston. So they got a good mix, and then they got some younger kids. When you look at Gates, Luke Lowry, and there's a walk for Tommy Lentine leading off. So here's Eddie Ramos. So see if March can go to work here, and he drives it down the line. Foul. Lowry, good run, just couldn't get there. And there's Tommy Lentine Sr. rolling up. I'm sure there's a possibility if the score holds that Tommy could get a pinch hit at some point. Tommy Lentine pointing to his dad saying, "You're late, grab some bench." So we're back to softball. And that is a little unusual. Tommy normally very punctual. And now home plate's starting to jump around a little bit on Bruce Lee. And there's a high fly ball. It'll stay in the park. Gates camped under it. And he'll flip it in for out number one. Brings up Chris Miller with Reese Miles on deck. I think you'd like to see maybe a couple of more hits here and get Adam up there, maybe with a chance to drive something out of the park and pick up some quick runs. And Chris Miller drives it to the gap, and Scott Gates, we told you he could run, cruised over and made the catch. So Scott Gates covering a lot of ground. It looked like it might be trouble when it left the bat. You can see he got there and made a little basket catch and made it look pretty easy. So here's Reese Miles. And there's a little soft fly ball, and Molina puts it away. So March right now, their offense stuck in neutral, and they have not scored since the first inning here. 3 straight going dry. So looking forward, a lot of players have been approaching me, very excited about the upcoming season. And it's good to have some softball to whet the appetite. And for those of you in other parts of the country or other states, the Chicago schedule is pretty hectic. It's not just the 5 big tournaments, but there are all kinds of one-day events. And if you like our page, we get out to a lot of fundraisers, one-day events. And of course, you'll want to check us out in mid-July when we have the Papa Hops tournament. You'll want to check that out. Tournament on the south side, 32 teams, single elim. They start in the afternoon and they play until it's over. And there's a little fly ball, and whoa, little Bottle City there, but Reese Miles holds on, and Ian Langston first out. That brings up Nick Jones. And it is a wild tournament. It is out near Ralph, I believe that's correct. I did speak with Danny Atkins yesterday on the telephone. Danny, we hope you're feeling better. Danny recovering from a little surgery on his knee. He should be hopefully okay, but yes, Danny told me that it will be back in Berwyn this year. And Nick Jones drives it the other way, and that's a good call there by the umpire. Nick Jones going to try to go to third. Now the throw gets away, but he'll stay there. So that is a good call there from where I was standing. I think we had a good look at it. The ball just kind of slithered out there. And Nick Jones has dropped a few pounds, looking pretty good there. And here's Luke Lowry, one of the young kids in the stable, and he slashes it fair down the left field line. Another run scores, stand-up double for Luke Lowry. And Luke just turned and burned on that. Hit a wicked one hop down the line. So again, this is an example here. March just not putting anything up. Scott Gates, a little ball beat into the ground, and they nip him at first. Runner did move up. So here's Tony Lepore, and he slaps it off the pitcher, and Tony runs pretty well too, and that'll get another run in. So Tony has hit 2 rocket doubles. Now he hits a one hopper off the pitcher for an infield hit. And that's going to bring up Macho Soto. So that kid so far got it all going for him, and that ball fouled down the line. So we'll come on back. We'll take a walk down to the other field to show you the and that ball is flared, and that's going to be caught by the left fielder. So Soto flies out. So we're going to head to the top of the 5th in a game that's been controlled by the Fat Kids. And now pitching for the Fat Kids, Angelo Feliciano. And not quite sure when Angelo got here. I didn't really see him pre-game, so I don't know if he got here a little late. And they have moved Bruce Lee over to first, and Bruce, very slick first baseman. So here's Adam Vogelstance. And there's a little flare that's up in the net. And there's a little soft flare the opposite way, and Tony Lepore got there. a little bit of a collision as he brushed past Luke Lowry. I heard somebody yell they got it, but I'm not sure if that was Luke or if that was Tony Lepore. You can see this was almost, that could have been disastrous. But everybody's okay. And those are, you know, Tony does lift a lot of weights. You don't really want to run into him too much. So March just not getting any breaks. High and deep, and that ball can't be secured. Lowry got there, but then dropped it. And that's going to be a stand-up triple. So again, if you're March, anytime you get a base runner, you need to capitalize. And this brings up Roberto Villalobos Jr. with Brian Evans on deck. And Jr. got enough pop to get out of here. Brian Evans, top of the lineup, awaiting. And there he tries to overhand cut, and he drops it in front of Brandon Molina for a base hit. Kind of thought maybe Brandon was going to get over there. Now, we did talk about the fact that Brandon is normally a center fielder, so when you go to left field, and Junior did raise his hands there, he did not actually cut it really down the line. It was more to dead left field. And I am a little surprised. Brandon usually gets to a lot of those balls. But so here's Evans, and he guides a hit up the middle. So March now, they got one in here. And they're putting themselves in a position to maybe throw up a crooked number. Here's Morris Greco. And Morris, hard ball down the line, second time in this ball game. Another run scores. Second time he's just beat a ball hard right over that bag. Morris Greco. We're live now. So here's Jack Harrigan. 9-4. March's offense starting to show a little life. And Harrigan delivers. One run is in, and they're going to hold Greco. So March has put up 3, 9-5, and here's Jake McTeague. 2 runners on, and Jake golfs it into the alley. Another run scores, and now there's a fumble. They're going to send Harrigan. 2-run double. And all of a sudden, we got ourselves a 9-7 ball game. Jake McTeague just went down and golfed that ball into the gap. You got 7, no? So 9-7. Junior Villalobos going to run. Brings up Tommy Lentine Jr. Eddie Ramos on deck. So March had been just kind of treading water, not really doing much. And Tommy goes opposite, and that ball's going to drop and roll to the fence. Another run scores. And all of a sudden, March is slicing gaps as they have put up a 6 spot to crawl within 1. And here's Eddie Gil Ramos with Chris Miller on deck. And Time. There's a... Can't make the catch. Eddie Gil Ramos slapped it hard down the line. Brandon Molina went into a little bit of a slide. He looked shook up. I think when he slid, didn't quite get the hands on it, and that softball might have hit him right on the shin or an ankle. He's going to walk it off, though, but we are all tied up. 7 runs here in the top of the 5th. So March has exploded here, and it brings up Chris Miller. Chris comes through here. March could take their first lead since the first inning. And they've done it a variety of ways. Singles, doubles, triples. One thing they haven't done is they haven't hit a home run. And there's a swing and a ground ball, and it squirts through. Oh, and Eddie Gil Ramos, they held him. That might have been a good opportunity there to score a run, but they didn't send him. 1 out here. Here's Reese Miles. Now, if you're Reese, the one thing you don't want to do is hit a ground ball at an infielder with 1 out. You want him to try to elevate and maybe drive a gap. And there's a ground ball, and Angelo can't handle it. And March has stormed now after trailing 9-2. They've come all the way back to take a 10-9 lead here. I think Angelo was anticipating starting a double play there, and he was in the process of turning, and he just didn't handle it. 2 guys on here for Adam. Vogel stance. And if I'm Adam here with 2 base runners, I'm looking for can see Angelo very slick. You got to pay attention, kids. There aren't that many guys that'll try to pick you off. Angelo's one of them. And if I'm Adam, I'm looking for something I can drive, but no, he just flips it. Lowry, and that's going to be an easy double play. Chris Miller, I think, was thinking to himself he wanted to try to score there if he could. Took a chance hoping that ball was going to land, but Luke Lowry got there. But an 8-run inning puts March back in front. So this game has certainly changed on a dime, as they say. Combination turf, short fences, the roof. Crazy things tend to happen in the dome. Fat kids now, they got 4, 5, 6 coming up. Matt Peckus, Anthony Misek, and Bruce Lee. Although I believe there might be a pinch hitter over there. Well, the interesting thing is Angelo's a terrific pitcher. He threw a no-hitter or a perfect game last year. But like I said, I believe he got here a little bit late, and to be honest with you, Bruce was cruising along. And Matt Peckus goes high and deep, and we are all tied up at 10. So here in the bottom of the 5th, again, I sound like a broken record. I'm not a fan of the solo home run. Jake, is this kid's name Sosa? Oh. Okay, this is one of those younger fat kids. I want to say his name is Sosa, but I'm not sure. So I apologize if there's any Fat Kid fans out there. He's wearing a good number, Gio's old number 21. So we're all tied at 10. And this is a pinch hitter for Mysek. And he draws a walk. So it's very possible that they took Bruce out to put him at first after Noach got hit in the head. Here's Brandon Molina. I'm a big believer that when my pitcher's got control of a game, especially in a dome like this, you leave him in there. And that ball does not hit the roof, and coming in and making the catch is the left fielder, Morris Greco. So 1 out, 1 on, here's Bruce Lee. So Bruce hit into a double play that ended the bottom of the 4, or not ended, but really stifled a potential rally when it was 9-2. And March got a little juice out of it and dumped an 8 spot to take the lead. And Bruce goes big, but right at Junior Villalobos, that'll be out number 2. It's going to bring up Tommy Boyle. His last 2 times up, he's hit the ball right on the screws, but has nothing to show for it. And he tries to go deep. That's down the line, but foul. If it was fair, I think it would have got caught. Greco got to the line okay, but, you know, where you see that orange foul pole down there, there's a concrete block, and they got it so that it's on the side of the fence and really in playing territory, and you don't want to kick that or run into that because that is very, very heavy. And Greco got over there, started tiptoeing, and there's a ground ball knocked down by Harrigan, the shortstop. And the worst ball Tom's hit all day is his first hit. He's laid out a couple of ropes and got no love. He got a little on that, though. And here's Ian Langston. So 2 outs here, and Ian and Morris Greco gets there for the 3rd out. So we head to the 6th, all tied. Again, we'd like to thank Sweet Buzz and Nick Drabel for jumping in, being one of our Chicago Summer Series corporate anchor partners. And they're a big reason why we're able to bring you that Chicago Summer Series, which was very well received. And we got a few tricks up our sleeves this year, so we're hoping we can be bigger and better with it. And they sell infused products. If you're of age, check out their website. I believe it's Get Sweet Buzz. And if you see Nick at a field, please go and talk to him. I'm sure he'd love to talk to you about what they're doing. So there's a swing, and he drives it, and Gates jumps up and makes the catch. So Ian, the extra hitter, gave it a ride. But Scott Gates got a good jump and made it look relatively easy. So here's Junior Villalobos, and he pops it up the elevator shaft Scott Gates makes his second catch of the inning. And they're back to the top of the lineup in Brian Evans. And that ball a little short. And Evans slashes a hit the other way, so 2 out, good speed aboard. As we are in the 6th inning here. Brings up Morris Greco. He's got a couple of doubles right over the line. We'll see if Ian Langston adjusts where he stands and maybe inches a little closer. And I have seen Morris go yard. Will be interesting to see if he tried it. Again, March isn't really known as a big power club. It's really not what they do. And that pitch illegal. I think Angelo was maybe trying to sniff out whether or not there was a little chopper. Tommy Boyle and Bruce Lee with the sweet pick. So Bruce Lee, we told you he was pretty good over there. And Bruce has got some of the best hands, and a lot of times when he plays first, a lot of times you'll see him one-hand the ball. So they get the very speedy Morris Greco. We head to the bottom of the 6th, 10-10. Well, Chris, it's a mystery. All I can tell you is if we're still kind of trying to figure that out a little bit. If we do run it, it'll be probably just a one-day event, and it will probably be structured toward younger teams. So here's Nick Jones, and he tries to blast one, but right on the spot, Morris Greco cruised over.
No, that's what I want.
So here's Luke Lowry. And right now we're kind of at the point where if you start trying to figure odds in your head and who might have an advantage in a 10-10 game here. Of course, this is the 11th place hitter here. And there's a little spinner. Harrigan climbs the ladder and makes the catch. Brings up Gates. I think Fat Kids will have a little bit of an advantage, I would think, just because, A, they do have the hammer, but they have more guys, I think, that are capable of hitting something out. You got Gates who can go, who's in the box now. You got Lepore, Soto, Peckus, Mysek, Molina. So they got a lot of guys that can go yard on you. So if you're March, what you want to do is try to get out of this inning. And you would probably need a couple. And Gates shoots it, but right at Junior Villalobos for out number 3. So we're going to head to a 7th inning here. We're all knotted up. As Gates hit that ball hard, but for an out. So like I said now, we are in the 7th inning. It's going to be Jack Harrigan, Jake McTeague, and Tom Lentine Jr., 3, 4, 5. In the bottom half, the Fat Kids will have Lepore, Soto, and Peckus, 2, 3, 4. So I think if you're March, your goal's got to be to get 2 or 3 here, because a 1-run lead would be a tricky proposition with these short dimensions. So here's Harrigan. He tries to prove me wrong and go deep, but right up against the fence, jumping catch there by Brandon Molina. So he got a great read there and jumped up. And you can see he did everything right on that play, and if he doesn't get back to the wall there, I think that ball might have had enough to crawl over. Here's Jake McTeague, and Jake whistles one, knocked down by Soto. Boyle can't recover though. So that was a good opportunity there. Nice job by Soto. Slapped the ball down and went right to Boyle, who was chasing the ball, and they just couldn't get McTeague. And here's Tommy Lentine, and he hits a line drive, and Angelo. Great play by Angelo. Bruce Lee was trying to one-hand it with the big boy sliding back. So 2 outs, brings up Eddie Gil Ramos. And Eddie trying to go the other way, and it got past Lepore. So the inning continues. Looked like Lepore was maybe going to make that play. Brings up Chris Miller. Reese Miles on deck. So all of this started here after 2. And Chris Miller tries to, and he just pounds it up the middle. 1 run is in. Ramos will get to 3rd. So nothing fancy. Chris Miller just pounded it past the pitcher up the middle. Runners on the corner now for Reese Miles. Adam Vogelson on deck. So March reclaims the lead. Fifth lead change of the ball game. And Miles, wicked short hop. Soto can't make the play. March grinds another one. And now if you're Angelo, you do got to be careful. 2 guys on, 2 outs. We'll see if Adam tries to drive something. And he just golfs it, but right at Soto. I would have liked to have seen Adam maybe be a hair more patient there. And good job of Angelo. He threw him something short there, and he got Adam to kind of reach a little bit. But do or die, bottom of the 7th here for the Fat Kids. 5 lead changes in this ball game. Fat Kids need 2 to extend the game. 3, they will walk off March. Anything less, and March will have themselves a pretty nice come-from-behind victory as they're getting ready to play Signature next. And it looks like that Signature game is over on the other diamond. And unfortunately, we're going to have to take the long walk down to the other field, but that's okay. Doc says I got to get a few steps in. So here's Tony Lepore, and Tony leads off with a base hit. It's always interesting how sometimes in ball games you can go long stretches with no scoring, and then all of a sudden, both teams will start ringing a register. So here's Macho Soto. And right now, if you're March, you got to be worried. If they get another base runner, you got Peckus, Mysek, and Molina, all home run threats who can go yard and walk you off. And there is a base hit. Lepore is going to run and score all the way from first. Tying run on the double, moves into second. And Matt Peckus can walk March off with a long one. So base hit double. And the Fat Kid's now in a position here with nobody out, certainly to tie the game. Pitch is a little outside, and I would be very careful to Peckus. Noach certainly has the power to leave the yard. I think Matt's a little bit more consistent with his drive swing. And I think that was the unintentional intentional. Now, Noach has got a lot of good qualities, but he's not very fast. If you can get him, if you can get Noach to lay it on the carpet, he is a double play possibility. The only thing is, if you're the young first baseman here with nobody out, and Noach hits it high, but it scrapes the roof, and it's going to drop, and that is going to load the bases. That was some bad luck for March. Morris Greco had a beat on it, and it would have been a can of corn, but it hit the roof and fell in for a single. And here's Brandon Molina now. Base hit can win the ball game. And you got Matt Peckus, not the fastest guy at second. Molina here does not need the homer. Still nobody out.
Hey, Matt, he's smart out there, Matt.
And Molina swings, and that's going to be the ball game. It does not get out, but he bangs it off the fence. 2-run score. And on our sixth lead change of the ball game, the Fat Kids walk off March, 13-12. So that ball did not get out, but once it hit the wall, the first 2 runs were going to score. 13-12 final. Fat Kids walk off March. We're going to click off. We're going to be back with a new stream in the